Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies. We're coming to you with a Bruichladdich 3D3.
It's discontinued from about 2007.
Boom, we found this in a cave on the side of a mountain tucked underneath a hill.
Secret cabinet.
Secret, and we are going to
Test it.
test it! Alright, so we found this at a place that purchased several of these, right?
Yes, actually, I believe it's 2007, maybe 2008.
Yeah.
But I had picked up the Bruichladdich Rocks, which we've reviewed. It came in a can, nice tin like this,
Just
had a
like
free
this.
glass.
Yes.
And then you've picked up the 3D3.
Right, it's peated.
Which, they say, okay, before this was the 3D2, which is a series done for one of their peat cutters, Nori.
Really?
From
Wow.
just reading the stuff on the can.
Wow.
Okay?
You just
But
read
they
that
say-
on the can?
Yeah.
Nori.
Yeah.
I'm loving what you're saying.
So, but they say this is the most heavily peated of the series.
At the time, yes. Well, of the series,
So
you're right.
I don't know if like the Octomores have replaced this.
No,
or
I'm going
where
to tell
we're
you
coming
right
out
off
of
the
that.
bat. This is a precursor to what becomes, in my opinion, I may be, but to me, this is the precursor of the Port Charlotte. Precursor.
You think?
Yes, I get hints of what was to come with the Port Charlotte.
Now let's point out real quick, we do have a new camera. We've used it a couple of videos now. We're messing with some settings. We're going to see how everything looks.
Yeah.
So
if you
maybe
hate it, comment on
if
it.
the lighting is off or if the focus is off,
Oh.
we're trying different things and we'll
Yes.
adjust and we'll go from there.
We're trying. We're trying. Now, this is so old that when I open it for the very first time, I go to pop the cork and pop, the cork breaks. The cork breaks off inside. Now, luckily, the Port Charlotte cork from a bottle that I've already consumed replaced. But this thing pops off. We may throw a couple still photos in there because I immediately went to Twitter. We have a lot of Twitter fans. Go follow us on there. We're Scotch Test Dummy, D-U-M-M-I. And I came on and said, I need immediate emergency help with a cork removal. All right, it had gotten a little dry rot because it had just sat for 10 years almost.
Almost, yeah.
Almost 10 years, and it broke on me. And let's see, JB Weld, right? JB Weld, stick it on there and then just pull it back out later. A lot of people thought that was, I said that was Cousin Shane's suggestion. Made that part up just being funny. A lot of people are like, oh no, that'll damage the scotch.
Yeah, try to put glue in your scotch.
Right, no, I wouldn't do that either because it is breathable. There are a few tips. The final tip I want to give credit to, and now it's, well, several people. It's not just one, so I won't give credit to any one person. I had about 4 people come on and say, get a corkscrew, take your time, gently get it down in there without pushing the cork into the liquid, and then pull it out. And it came out
Let me
perfect.
pour some.
Nope,
A little too
you're
much.
all right. You're all right. I'm not driving.
It's early in the day.
It is early in the day, but I'm not driving. So it was saved and beautiful. So if that ever happens to you, just go on Twitter. You can go on Twitter, find the Scotch Friends. That's not really a group, but it should be. And they'll help you with about anything. So, what else did you read off the can? Because that was impressive.
Well, I was going to show you right on the front. It shows you the Nori Campbell Tribute Bottling.
Go Nori, Norrie.
Yes.
Way to go.
46%.
And they actually got these little chunks of peat. That's a picture of the chunks of peat roasting,
Oh yeah.
burning.
Looks like charcoal.
It does. It looks like a charcoal briquette. So on the
Now
nose.
we
sorry.
have. Look,
Set it up, brother.
we've
set
got
it
a
up.
shelf back here of whiskeys and scotches that we need to review yet,
We do.
and we've got some older ones.
Yes.
I moved this one up. I'm going to tell Bart why I wanted to move this one up.
Yeah, you called for it. You were like, oh, you want to know why? Look what I even called it in there.
3DS.
For some reason, I called this the 3DS, and it's because my son's got a Nintendo 3DS system instead of the 3D3. All right.
Bottled at 46% now. The reason I wanted to move this up, Bart, I had a revelation.
A revelation.
I literally, and you know, you're the peat lover, I'm the sherry lover.
Yes.
I sat down with this, and it's like it clicked a switch in my head.
Really?
And I said, that's what the peat is about. I like it.
Wow. This is the moment with Bruichladdich.
I will look back and I will tell you that Bruichladdich 3D3 clicked the switch on peated for me.
Wow. That's impressive.
Now we've shot a couple, and I've just we did the Lafroig shootout, and I kind of went ugh, but I liked it.
Right, and you were warming. You were like, wow. And then when we
I had tasted this before that, but I kind of did the face just so you wouldn't like pick up on I did something odd. Like I liked it.
You were acting?
I was acting. Because let me tell you too. So I taste this at home and I take my notes, and that light switch goes. The next night, I had 3 different peated scotches at home.
Really?
Tried them. Yeah. Well, I mean, just one after the other.
Huh.
I had Lafroig Select. I think the Kilhoman Loc Gorm, and maybe a Lagavulin. 3 in a row.
Lagavulin 16?
I don't remember the 16 or Distiller's Edition, but one of the two.
Either one's great. Well, I noticed you put out no fight.
Hard bake Oogie.
Okay, what I suggested we do, and it's already aired, obviously, go back and look at it. The Ardbeg 10 versus Lafroig 10, you were like, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I noticed, I was like, wow, he didn't even put up a fight. You were just like, yeah, let's do that. That was a good one. And I was like, huh.
And when we did the shootout, we started with the Lafroig 10, and we've pointed out in a couple of videos how that. And then we went back and we shot just the Lafroig 10 because we hadn't done that. But I picked up a definite sweetness with it. I like the Lafroig 10. We were Scotch whiskey shopping this weekend. It was on sale. I wanted to pick up a bottle, but and I still will at some point.
Now, since the light finally, the switch has been flipped on this, how much longer until you're digging the manga shirt? Come on, man. You're going to be like, woo!
That's a whole nother
story. You're going to be like, woo, I love the peat, and I bought my own manga.
Wow, I can tell you just right there, and I haven't had this since I tasted it. It's delicious. I love this. This is delicious.
I think they had one more bottle.
I know.
I'm surprised you haven't gone in there.
Okay, on the nose.
Oh, I was going to sip it.
I know I did. I already took a sip too, but I just get a sweetness, the peat, a citrus sweetness, and I've got in my notes, I really like this nose for a peated Scotch. And almost a little bit of a sour mash nose to it as well.
All right, this one gets me a little bit because, and it's in my notes, I say body putty, which I'm going to come back to. Same as kind of a Bondo, that pink body putty. But it reminded me, it takes me back to when I'm 6 years old again, and I'm going to explain that. And then I say there's a faint, sweet campfire. But 6 years old is, I was little, my dad was building a 1929 Model A, and he got to the body part, and he was real detailed, and he was body putting, and that's what this takes me back to. Is I remember watching him just work on that car. But you're right, you can still get the sweetness, but there's the Bondo and that peat hint just in there. It's not like overly peated.
On the taste, neat. I get a strong peat, medium to strong peat, not as heavy as some. A campfire smoke. It's a little salty. And then I move into my water note, so go ahead with what you got.
I got a smooth tobacco smoke. Almost like pipe smoke. My grandfather, before he quit smoking altogether, would smoke a pipe. And it was pleasing. And then I get the alcohol hits me a little bit sharp at first, but then it tails out. You're right, it gives a little bit of a brininess. And I've just got a further note that the alcohol was sharp on the front of my tongue, but it really then just folds in. And you're right, it gives a little bit of a saltwatery brine. Rich and lingering. I go on. This is still with the neat, rich and lingering, as it slowly trails softer and softer, whispering away after about a minute. And that is what I love in the peat smoke, is that it gives you this. That's why I can spend an hour with an ounce, because it'll just linger and stay and mellow. Some, but mostly the peats. The peats do that for me. And then I asked myself a question on here. Do I even want to add water? Maybe on camera, but not when I was taking these notes. So I will try it.
46%, I think a little water is needed, and it is good neat.
Exceptional.
Now you guys are part of, you're watching the transformation of me to the pedids with this. But with water, I get a little bit of a minty evergreen started to come out with it.
Wow. Great trailings. Oh, gosh. Just delicious.
Great mouthfeel of powdered sugar.
Good call there. Wow. You're right.
Yeah. Now this has me wanting to try other peated whiskeys. Now I don't know next to a sherry if I'm still going to choose the peated, but I'm not necessarily shying away from them. And I think the sherries could still be my favorites. But this is definitely, I don't know what it was when I sat down with it. Just was like a switch went.
Yeah, Bruichladdich is like an artisan. They are an artisan whiskey distiller. They really know their craft and they hone it. And this is gone. You can't find this. You can't find it.
No.
If you don't get the other 3D3, I will. I'll just be careful with that cork. But
Maybe like man grabbed it.
Come here. Yeah, I just bit it and like tried to pull it off pirate style, and all of a sudden I'm like, ooh, what happened here? I broke the cork. I want to try this kind of head to head with the Bruichladdich Port Charlotte Scottish barley, because I believe the Port Charlotte's peatier than this, but this feels to me like it's a precursor to what the Port Charlotte became. And I really want to taste them head to head and see.
And once again, well, let's apologize because we didn't do our research to find out. So if someone knows, let us know. We talked about on a prior episode, sometimes we just don't have the time to sit down. To me, and maybe Bart, my review is more about the liquid, the spirit
juice
that's in here.
Yeah.
And not so much the history or sometimes we get into that a little bit more.
I
Sometimes
geek out
we just
on it a little
review
bit.
that. Sometimes we just
Yeah.
let's tell you what the whiskey is, and
Yeah.
then we trust our commenters to let us kind of fill us in a little bit.
Well, I love that part of it. I like to geek out a little bit on the details, but I like you, enjoy the liquid that's inside.
Yeah.
I do want to know a little bit. Sometimes I'll dive in further, to be quite honest with you. Sometimes I dive in after we've done the review, and when I'm sipping later, I'll be right over here on this couch, and I might just be looking on the web and going, wow, I really like this. But we will have already filmed it. Because usually when we're preparing to film, I'll try it once or twice before we film, make notes. And then I'll usually, then we're trying again on camera. And then when I really enjoy something, I'm oftentimes coming back to it again later.
Yes.
So, but all right, let me try it with the water.
Well, and kind of what I was alluding to with the facts and doing our research is that we did the George Dickel rye, and we went through, we shot it in Tennessee whiskey, we sang a song and talked about it all, and then someone says, the George Dickel rye is an MGP distillery.
From Indiana.
From Indiana.
Is there any songs that have Indiana in it?
And I don't know, we'll have to look and see.
That will sing.
But I had just assumed George Dickel, Tennessee, it's been charcoal filtered, and there is some of the charcoal filtering in there with the rye.
Sure.
But what they did is they've purchased the rye from MGP.
Yeah.
They charcoal filter it and age it. It's just not made in Tennessee.
Well,
and it doesn't say Tennessee whiskey anywhere on the bottle. I never even looked. I didn't even realize it.
Well, MGP's putting out some phenomenal stuff.
Sure.
I can't remember. They're even starting to do their own bottlings.
Oh, are they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can't remember the name of it. But because some folks were getting worried about how much stock they have because they were even doing some of their own releases. They're really, really putting out a nice spirit.
Okay. Well, we'll be doing the Templeton rye coming up, and they are a sourced spirit as well.
Yeah. It makes sense, really. I mean, if you've got somebody that can make that much quantity.
Now, say we started a whiskey company though, can we contact MGP and say we want a a bourbon or a rye, you know, this is what we want the mash bill to be,
I think
and they make it, or do we just purchase what they offer?
Interesting. I would imagine they've got the rye, the bourbon, you know, maybe even a more of a single malt barley. But
what I'm getting at though, so the Templeton, and we'll talk about this when we do it, but say the Templeton and the Dickel, they're sourced from MGP. Is that the exact same rye?
I think
coming out.
Well, I don't know.
Or can they special order and say?
It's probably a question for Mark Gillespie. But from what I understand, is a lot of times it may be the same spirit, but then it's aged. You know how it's aged differently, and how long it's aged,
and in what type of
wood. And what kind of and what are they doing?
Yeah.
But I would imagine they can do up different mash bills, probably to your specifications too. That would be, you know, hey, I want a mix of this, and this. And then you get the unaged raw spirit, is my understanding, and then you age it and do whatever you want.
Put it in whatever barrels you want, age it however long you want.
But I can't remember. I read something on them. They had a guy at MGP that had a certain skill level. I think he's even been hired away, and he really brought them into the forefront. Now, I would imagine 10 years ago, you and I probably could have called up and sourced some spirit pretty easily. Nowadays, I don't think we'd be able to. They'd be like,
Well, and from what I've even read, just getting the barrels nowadays for having a cooper, because the cooperages are so backlogged and have such an order. I mean, you've already got to be established to get on the list with the cooperages to get your cask.
I was talking to a craft distiller, and he said I should have gone into cooperage. He goes, I would have made a lot more money if I would have just learned the skill, hired a few guys, and we'd be putting out barrels. Wow. You know, you're shocking me. I saw your score. I didn't put a score on here, but 90. Yeah, I'm probably going to just mirror you. 93. I was thinking maybe 92, just because I like a little heavier peat, but it's delicious with the peat underlaying in there with everything else.
This is actually, and maybe do them side by side, but I can just tell you the Lefroy 18 was the highest scored peated I'd done, and I gave it a 92.
So this is
which I wanted to, because this one, for whatever reason, really clicked the switch for me. Wow. So there's something there. I said, boom, that's got to be the best peated whiskey that I've
It's really nice. It really holds the peat while staying light. And
but I'll tell you though too, I'll guarantee you this isn't anywhere near 18 years old. So, now, is it worth it?
Yeah, and I paid a pretty good price for this.
I know it was $80 range.
Yeah, I think it was 86. And I remember thinking, well, I love Bruichladdich. Really, I love everything Bruichladdich put out. So I thought, yeah, and the Port Charlotte's running 67. The Port Charlotte Isla barley's running 70 something where we're at. So I thought, okay, all right. I mean, this is older. The kicker for me was these are gone. I mean, you can't. I didn't even know these existed until you brought home that other one.
Yeah, the rocks.
Right, and so when I saw this, I'm like, well, I've got to have it. And I definitely, like I said, I don't know the history, but it definitely feels like it's the precursor to what the Port Charlotte becomes.
Yeah.
And so I bought it. They had another one there. I do agree with you. If you don't buy it, I will. So you'll run out there and probably get it. So it's delicious. I love it. Here's the hard thing, though. Even as we review it, it's not like they can go out and get this.
Yes,
I mean, it's just pretty much gone. If you want to, I mean, go check some liquor stores that usually don't sell Scotch, and you may find this tucked away, and they were never able to sell it. Because people are going in and getting their vodkas and their wines, and they're like, "Wow, I'm not paying $80 for one bottle."
Yeah, they'd be like, "What?"
Yeah. And then you're like, oh my God, they got a Bruichladdich 3D3. Scotch it!
Oh, wait.
Nope.
I was going to say, check out ScotchTestDummies.com for the latest information on our next live stream, which we started doing a few weeks ago on YouTube. It'll be on the front page of ScotchTestDummies.com. Thumb us, as Bart says. Leave us comments. Let us know what you think.
Love your comments. Watch the live shows. I'm telling you, we're having a fun time. Fun time. Scotch it, you Scotch gods.
Sláinte.
Dummies. Hey, it's the Scotch Test Dummies coming to you with a Bruichladdich 3DS.
3D3.
Let's reshoot that.
3DS.
Oh no.
Where did you get that
That's
from?
Bo's gaming system.
Bruichladdich makes a gaming system.
Yeah, well, I say your DS too much,
Let's
obviously.
test it.